Hi everybody, welcome to a new tutorial from Sound for More. It's Leo speaking. Today I want to go through how to use connectors between layers. So let's start straight away. So I'm inside a set list, which I call the Sound for More set list. Let's click on the plus sign, click from scratch, and let's create a new song, which we are going to call Song 1. Okay, let's click on proceed. Let's double click on song 1. I like really to have a proper name, so let's click on the scene and let's change the name to scene 1 and let's click proceed and let's click done. Okay, let's double click on the scene 1 and now we move, as you can see down here, on the layers tab. Okay, let's start creating a new layer inside this scene. Okay, so let's click on the plus sign here. We select from scratch and we give a name to like layer number 1 and let's click on proceed. As you can see, an update has been recently released by for Camelot Pro, and you can see there's a little symbol here. If you click on here, you have these new Midi settings, which I will create a full tutorial to explain how they work. But let's go back to the purpose of this tutorial, so to connect us between layers. As you know, you can add an instrument, and let's click on the plus sign here. Let's select instruments and devices, and for simplicity, for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to use a software instrument. So we choose all different categories, and let's start with something simple, like for example, this AUM and I XD, which is a fantastic synth. So let's select the key ranges. I have not plugged in a MIDI controller, so I'm going to use directly the key ranges on the screen. Okay, so let's click back to the layer. Let's click where it says here the name, like so. And then let's click on the icon here so that we can go inside the plugin. Let's extend that plugin. Let's scroll down so we can see the list of presets. Let's click on the list of presets and let's choose something like an organ. Let's click on the X and then click done. Let's click on key ranges to play it. Now, as you probably already know from other tutorials, you can add another instrument. For example, you can click on the plus sign, select again instruments and devices, software instrument, all different categories. And now let's choose something like, why not, this grand piano, AUV3. Okay, so if I click again on key ranges, you will hear both the grand piano and also the organ. So now let's go back to the layers and let's expand that layer, clicking on this icon here, right? Click on the key ranges again. And actually, let's go back to the layers, then click on the key ranges and then expand like so. So you both see the key ranges for both AUV3 audio units. So let's say that I want to restrict, and let's do a split. So this first one, the organ, will respond up to B4, and we do the opposite for the grand piano. We get it to respond from C4, like so. So let's come out from full view. We have only one layer. So if I click down here, I will hear only the organ, and up here, only the grand piano. Okay, so hopefully so far so good. Let's click on the plus sign again. We select from scratch, and this time we create a second layer called layer 2. Let's click on proceed. As you can see, different color. Now, let's click on layers like so we can see the audio units better. Let's click on the plus sign. Again, instrument and devices, software instrument, all different categories. And now let's choose something else, like for example, Booster from Korg, which is really, really nice. So let's click on key range. And you will hear, of course, Booster directly from layer number 2 using the key ranges. Now, let's say that when I play the keys on layer number 2, I want also layer number 1 to play. So how do I do that? Well, I use a connector. So let's click on the plus sign again here. This time, let's select on preprocessors, like so, and then let's select MIDI layer connectors. Now you can choose different times. You can send all MIDI events between layers, only the sustain pedal, or expression pedal, CC, of course. You can send the pitch bend information, modulation wheel CCs, and also notes. So let's select notes for now, and let's connect to the layer available, which in this case is only layer number 1, and let's click done. Now let's click on kick ranges and let's play. So down here you hear the organ as well, which come from layer number 1, together also with the audio unit, which in this case in layer 2 is Boaster. And if we go up here, you hear instead the piano that comes from layer number 1. Okay, let's go back to layers. Now let's say that I don't want for the piano to be played. When I, for example, I'm here on layer number 2 and I click up here. So how do I restrict that? Well, very simple. Let's click on the notes here. Okay, let's go down here and click on, actually, there's an easier way to do that. So let's click on key ranges here, expand that, and here you can see the key ranges for the layers connectors. And what you can do here is to narrow down, almost like if you are doing a natural split, so like to C4. Let's exit there, okay, and let's try. You can hear the organ here, and up here you hear only Boaster. You don't hear the piano anymore because the messages are not sent anymore to layer number 1. Now let's say that the organ here is played too low, although it's played correctly on at the same level of the keyboard, same notes. I would like for the organ to be played an octave higher. So, okay, how do I do that? Let's go to layers, let's go to notes on the connector here. Let's go to MIDI settings, then MIDI transformers here, and then when it says octave shift, let's go up by 1. You can see the octave here has become available. Now let's go back to key ranges. Of course, you can hear that part of the piano here which is being played because I went up an octave. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Of course, you could have done it in a completely different way as well. Now let's add a third layer. So from scratch, let's call this layer number 3 and let's click on proceed. So it's becoming very colorful. So let's click on layers. Let's click on the plus sign down here, instrument devices, software instrument, all categories. And now let's scroll down until we find the why not Lagrange. Let's load it. Now let's go to key range. Okay, so now on layer number 3, you hear Lagrange. Up here on layer number 2, down here you hear Boaster plus the organ. Here a little bit of piano. And up here you hear the organ and the piano. Really nice indeed. Now, let's say that I want to be able, when I'm up here, to play also Lagrange from layer number 3. Very easy to do. So we go back to the layers view. We click on the plus sign, again a preprocessor, a MIDI layer connector. Then let's send notes. So let's select notes and let's connect this time layer number 3 and let's click done. Now the next thing I want to do is to expand that. Click on key range. Yeah, go back to layer number 2. There you go. On the notes here, which is the second connector, I'm going to again split it from C4 like so, and now I'm going to exit that and I'm going to try. So if everything works well, When I play up here, I will hear a booster and also layer 3 where we have Lagrange. Perfect. Down here, I will hear a booster plus the organ on layer number 1. Up here, on the lower side of the keyboard, I will hear the organ. Up here, I will hear the grand piano. And up here on layer number 3, only Lagrange. And as you can see, if you minimize also or collapse the view, you can see now that your view here under scene number 1 is getting quite busier than before, because we have multiple layers with multiple objects. We have audio unit, and then we also have layers connection. Okay, I hope you found this short tutorial interesting and useful. Now you know how to make the relevant connections between different layers. And also, before I leave, if you click on one of them and you don't like the icon, click up here, click on change icon, and then you might change the icon to whatever you like. And you can also change the name there as well. Okay, hope you enjoy. See you at the next video. Bye.